What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, Karens, and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to subscribe for more Reddit content if you haven't already, and let's get into today's stories. Canceling my brother's wedding venue reservation after he uninvited me. So I, 37 male, have a younger brother, Tom, 26, who's getting married in 3 months. A year ago, when he and his fiancée were planning their wedding, they were struggling to find an affordable venue. I own a vacation property with a large yard that's been used for a couple of small weddings before, so I offered it to him as a wedding venue, rent-free. My only condition was that I wanted to be part of the wedding party, which he agreed to. Everything seemed fine. Last week, Tom and I got into a small argument. It wasn't really a big deal, but a couple of days later, he texted me and said he and his fiancée decided to, quote, downsize their wedding party, and I was no longer going to be a groomsman. I was shocked because I thought this was set in stone a year ago. I called him to ask what was going on, and he said it wasn't personal, just that they wanted to keep things small and intimate, and didn't feel like they needed me in the wedding party. I was pretty hurt, but I didn't say anything at the time. Then it occurred to me, if I'm not important enough to be in his wedding party, why should I host the wedding at my place? So I called him again and told him that since I wasn't going to be part of the wedding, they'd need to find another venue. Now Tom and his fiancée are furious. They say they can't afford another venue at this point, and that I'm ruining their big day. My parents are also upset and say I should just let it go and still host the wedding. I feel like I was doing them a huge favor, and they essentially uninvited me from being part of the most important day of their lives. I don't think I'm wrong to retract my offer, but now everyone's making me feel guilty. I was having a hard time believing my brother when he told me they were downsizing the wedding party, just to make it more intimate, but that's all he kept saying when I would ask for the real reason. In all honesty, my brother and I aren't that close. After my emotions settled down a bit, I told my brother I wanted to talk to him. He wasn't responding to me, so I said I wanted to talk to him about potentially letting them still use my vacation house. Not totally the truth, but it seemed like a good way to get him to talk. He finally responded but said I couldn't come over. He would only meet me somewhere public, which seemed weird. We ended up meeting at a bar late last night that I like near my place, and I straight up asked him why he was really kicking me out of his wedding, and I would only consider letting them use my vacation house if he told me the truth. He was getting pretty fidgety and looked away from me and finally told me the truth. Apparently his fiancée heard that I may do a bit of cocaine here and there for fun, and she told him that she, quote, didn't want a crackhead in her wedding. He said that he actually kind of agreed with her and was disappointed in what I was doing. I told him if I'm too much of a, quote, crackhead to be there, then they really shouldn't want to use a crackhead's house for their wedding, and I left. I don't really see how it impacts them what I do in my free time, but I really don't care to be there now if that's what they think of me. I haven't said a word to him since then, but I'm guessing I won't be hearing from him again soon. Edit to answer some consistent questions and comments. Quote, oh, you must be a drug addict. I do coke maybe a handful of times a year recreationally with some people that I party with. Obviously, this gossip traveled through the grapevine where circles overlapped and got to them somehow. I wasn't, quote, discovered because I'm an addict. Like some have said, it's more common than you think. You'd be surprised who does it. Another comment being, you must have a drug problem for them to react that way about it. My brother's fiancée comes from a very religious and conservative family. They think that anyone that does a hard drug must be a degenerate and is going to hell. That's the funny part about her calling me a crackhead. Crack is whack. She clearly doesn't understand coke is different, but I'm not going to go on a mission to educate her. It would be wasted effort on my part. You can be successful in life and recreationally use drugs. The two aren't mutually exclusive. Honestly, pretty much anyone I know that does coke has plenty of money and a great job, or they married someone rich or inherited money. Yeah, there's a reason they call cocaine a rich man's drug. Definitely not the same thing as crack. The fact that they really expected to still use your own venue after they uninvited you really shows their whole mindset about this whole situation. Your brother is showing no respect towards you as a family member and just wants to benefit off you. And I also want to point out before anyone takes this the wrong way, I don't believe OP's intention is to try to glorify the use of hard drugs or anything like that. The point he's trying to make is that because they heard he recreationally partakes in this every once in a while, they've automatically stereotyped him and put him into the category of some dangerous unhinged crackhead, which this is coming from people who don't even know that crack or cocaine are different things. So OP is obviously dealing with some very ignorant and judgmental people. Oh, they don't want this crackhead at their wedding, but they'll still gladly use his vacation home. Neighbor has gone nuts since having our shared property line surveyed, revealing she actually has about 5 less feet than she thought. I find the whole thing hilarious. I'm a 39-year-old female and my husband is 49. My husband and I moved into this house in 2018. The neighbor in question technically lives on the cross street to ours, but our driveway is adjacent to her backyard. When we moved in, we were under the impression that the property extended about 3 to 4 feet-ish beyond the edge of our driveway, which was fine. We've used this as a guide for when we mow that strip of lawn. Generally, we would mow 2.5 to 3 mower widths, and it was never an issue. This lady in her 60s or 70s, I'm not really sure. Like I said, never had a problem at all. I had a few brief conversations with her, and the same with my husband and hers, during the first couple years we lived here. Not really even enough to consider them acquaintances, but enough to be civil and give the occasional wave. Her husband passed away in 2020 or 21. I can't really remember. I don't know if it was COVID related or not, but he had health issues beforehand, so I'm not sure. Since then, she has hired a lawn care service to mow, leaf blow, etc. At the time, my husband worked second shift, so we would sleep in a bit most days till 10 or so. Our bedroom is adjacent to our driveway, and the way the room is, the only way to put a bed is with the head along that wall, but that wall has 2 huge windows. It's an older house, and the windows are pretty thin. We started getting woken up at 7 a.m. weekly to a lawnmower and leaf blower directly outside our window. Finally, my husband checked it out, and found the lawn boy driving his riding lawnmower up and down our driveway to access her yard, and standing in our driveway to blow leaves. This would literally be less than 10 feet away from our heads as we slept. He had enough and went out and got this guy's attention and told him, "Look, this is my driveway. It's not a thoroughfare for her yard because it's convenient." The kid, I don't know, early 20s-ish, apologized. But this lady has had it out for us ever since. About a year later, my teenager was raking leaves to the apron of the yard because our town comes along and sucks them up every year. He was putting them on our side, and she came out and yelled at him, saying they were on her lawn. He said he thought our property was from the telephone pole over. She said it wasn't. Whatever. Maybe a month later, I was returning from the store, and saw she was trying to pick up sticks in her yard. The way she moves makes it clear she has back issues. Like she can't bend. She had to crouch and reach. I asked her from my driveway, "Mrs. So-and-so, do you want some help?" No answer. Maybe she didn't hear me. Louder, "Mrs. So-and-so?" She didn't turn around. Just, no, with an attitude. Fine, I went inside and figured she was still salty about the whole lawn boy situation. A few months ago, my husband was hosing out our trash can and dumped the water along the edge of the street on our strip of land. The street has storm gutters because we get a lot of rain. She had a fit about it and came out to yell at him. He told her he isn't some kid she can yell at and to leave him alone. Within a week, she hired a guy to survey the land. Come to find out, her land ends on just the opposite side of the telephone pole, which gives her like 5-ish less feet. She's all butthurt about it, but whatever. So about a week or so later, it's evening, and I'm packing up the car for my husband to go to work, as he's on nights now. And I just kinda glance in the direction of her house as I start the car, and see her and some guy standing at the window just effing staring at me. I'm literally doing the same thing I do every night when I pack up the car. I don't know what the deal was. So I come inside and tell my husband these people are just standing there being creepy and it's unnerving. He goes out there to put something in the car and this guy comes out of her house and goes off about how we're harassing her and all that. My husband tells this guy to back off and that he's just trying to get ready for work. So the police get called and it's a whole dumb thing. Her and this guy get a trespass warning. I had stayed inside during the whole police talk, so I didn't get anything. She's literally crying to the cop, claiming that we have cameras, quote, looking into her windows. We have security cameras for the same reasons most people do, in case something happens. Like we give a damn what's going on in her place. The officer told her we can have 100 cameras if we want. Last week, she had the city survey. They put little flags where the gas line or whatever is, so we assume she's gonna build a fence. Then she cuts down this huge bush in her yard that's always been there, so again, we're getting excited she's gonna build a fence. Monday morning at 6 a.m., she's standing in her window watching me put our garbage can to the curb. Today her daughter comes and puts up a security camera, pointing into our garage area and backyard, which she couldn't even see until they cut the bush down. We're cracking up, it's hilarious. So of course, my husband now intends to get 3 more cameras for that side of the house to freak her out even more. I don't know, maybe we're being petty a-holes. I think it's mostly funny, especially since it all started by us not wanting people in our driveway. I mean, setting up more cameras OP at your house purely for the sole reason of just freaking her out more, I guess you could say it's kind of funny. But also keep in mind you're probably only just fueling the fire even more. If your main objective is to try to mitigate as many problems as possible between you and this neighbor, then this is not the way to do it. But once again, if you're just in it for a good laugh, then I guess you do you. Unless maybe you also do just want added security for your house with the extra cameras. Because sure, this whole thing might be a bit funny at first, but don't you find it a bit unnerving that they literally removed a bush and set up their own cameras so they can watch your property? Because I sure as hell know that would be a bit unnerving for me, knowing that every time I stepped outside my house, my neighbors literally have a camera specifically set up to watch me. Business owner tracked me down at my workplace after I left a 1-star review. A few months ago, I was driving home in very heavy traffic after a long weekend here in Australia. It seems like myself, the rest of the population had all been on holiday and were trying to get home. Along the way, I experienced some crazy drivers doing stupid things. One particular vehicle was tailgating, cutting people off when changing lanes, and swerving between lanes, trying to get ahead. Multiple times I witnessed others, including myself, have to slam on brakes to avoid accidents because of his dangerous driving. It riled me up and made me even more stressed and angry on the drive than I was already feeling, thanks to the speed dropping to a crawl with all the traffic, etc. The car was plastered with business details, including name, phone, website. When I got home, I searched it on Google and left a 1-star review. I admit, it was petty, but I moved on and forgot about the whole thing. Yesterday, I received an email to my work address from this business owner asking why I left a 1-star review. I've not responded because I'm annoyed and weirded out that they've figured out where I work and my real name. I am thinking about giving them a call and explaining the situation. I have nothing to say about the goods you manufacture, but your conduct when representing the business needs improving. Alternatively, say nothing and let them continue to sit on it. The oldest revenge in the book is letting a person's own paranoia eat at them. And that's going to be it for today, friends. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Reddit shenanigans. So take care, and I'll see you next time.